Paula, one of the things I heard proposed today was right now military justice lets the commander, in effect, be the judge and jury on this. No matter what happens throughout the justice system, the commander can decide to either lessen the punishment or even throw it out altogether. The idea is take that person out of the equation and treat this for what it is, a potential crime. I gotta imagine you think that's a good first step.
That's correct. You know, I think you brought up the comments when I brought my complaint face-to-face to my boss and said that I had been attacked in the hallway. And his comment was, that's what you get when you go down the hallway full of drunk aviators. So if that is his bias, if that is his stance on my predicament, I'm not going to get justice. And that remains intact today, where every victim of sexual assault has to confront either their boss, who may have been the perpetrator, or they have to work their way up the chain of command until they do find somebody who will support them. And in my case, I had a special set of circumstances where I actually wrote a letter directly to the admiral in charge of naval aviation. So that's the only reason I was ever even, and then of course the media got a hold of it, and it only until the media got a hold of my case that it became to, the leadership decided to actually take some kind of steps towards adjudication. But it's just so rare that a commanding officer has the skills to investigate. He has the real unbiased ability to be jury and judge in a case where he's got a traitor and a victim that both work for him. I mean, it's just completely flawed, and it doesn't have to be.
So few come forward, and as you said, you literally could have both the traitor, a rapist, and a victim in the same unit here, and the victim's so afraid to come forward. But put a human face on it. Talk about what that victim has to live with on a daily basis and long term. It literally drove you out of the service. Mm-hmm. People talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. Well, talk about this permanent scar that these people live with.
Well, in my case, and I think in most victims' cases, what is foundational to us joining the military is a family history of serving our country. And I take it very seriously, and I think most members that join the military do understand what they hope to accomplish by serving their country. And altruistic as it is, I believe that by me joining the military, I was joining a family that would support me, and I trusted that my command and my commanding officer would care about me in the way that I care for people who work for me. It's just supposed to be that way when you have a role of leadership. You're dealing with the human element, and there has to be some authentic concern. So when that betrayal was revealed, that my boss really didn't care, and that most of the military leadership really didn't care, it rocks you foundationally. And it is, you know, just being beyond the philosophical aspects of that betrayal, you go into a command structure day to day, possibly working right hand in hand with the person who assaulted you. Or you are removed from, in my case, I lost my job. I got moved away and tucked away into a desk in the far reaches of Washington, D.C. so that no one would see me again. And that was only until they could figure out how to ship me off to Italy, which I didn't go because I knew I'd kill myself. And that's actually, you know, more common than anybody would like to hear. When someone is so foundationally committed to serving their country and their country cannot support them and makes the choice to support a perpetrator of a crime, it's too difficult to reconcile. So if you could imagine a very young person, 19 years old, goes into basic training with this sincere idea of serving their country and then is raped by someone they consider their leader or their instructor. It's so broken, that person really has no recourse. And that is why I stay active, because if there's a predator out there and it's just destroying the young people and their spirit to come in and serve, we have a huge problem. And that young person may not ever recover. And you talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. Every single day that I stayed in the Navy after my assault, I got more and more desperate. And I can only imagine what a young person who's far away from home for the first time, how they could possibly survive. And a lot of them don't. What happens is they eventually seek medical attention, and quite often they're given a personality disorder label and removed from service. And then they don't even have any Veterans Administration or Veterans benefits for mental health care. It's just a downward spiral. And it's not about one individual case needs to be taken care of so that that person feels safe and can serve their country. It's an undercurrent of almost like a toxic algae bloom in the military that is being ignored. And I just feel like it's degrading our military, structurally in every way. And the young people that are coming in, they're just not interested in serving. And I would never let any of my children serve if I thought there was a 1 in 3 chance they're going to be sexually assaulted.
You have, since what you had to endure in '91, you have been very involved in this issue, and you've been close to people both that served and still are active. And I'm curious, when we go through the numbers, jaws drop for those of us who haven't worn a uniform when you hear basically of the estimated sexual assaults here, 26,000, only 3,000 are reported and only 300 prosecuted. The numbers going even further as to how many each day, 500 men and women each week are reported to have been assaulted. Does it happen in this volume because of the culture that maybe some of the people have gone through, or the idea that there's a permissiveness from above that, hey, it comes with the territory?
Well, I think that if you spoke to any of the victims of this epidemic of sexual assault, you would probably hear a recurring theme. They first were hesitant or didn't report the crime because they were afraid of retaliation. And then most importantly, there's really no sense of an authentic desire to remove criminals from our military. So most victims would probably say they just never believed anything would happen to the perpetrator. And they're right. I mean, the numbers you just read support that the military has really not been interested in removing the criminal element in the cases of sexual assault or rape. They've been more interested in creating training programs and focusing on how it affects their reporting, not really how it's affecting their readiness or their mission accomplishment or the professional development of those people in the armed services.